People will eat with their eyes first, right? So when it comes to food, what you want to do is start really letting the world know that you do this. And you don't have to sell it. You could just go, oh, look what we made. Like I talked about my husband's crazy pie that he made, not that he's going to do it, but people were really impressed with that. It's that kind of stuff where he was latticing this pie, and I did a video or a picture and posted it, and people were like, what? He makes pies. I didn't know he made pie. He's 71. He made pie for the first time. But bottom line is, people were impressed with that, right? So that's going to build confidence in people eventually, because they're going to see you setting your basic. They don't need to know that you're setting yourself up to do this. Just start telling the world what you're doing. Welcome to the Charcuterie and Cottage Biz podcast. Ready to turn your boards, bakes, and bites into real profits? Then you're in the right place. We're your hosts and real-life sisters, Chef Andrea and digital marketer Patty. We're excited to dish out fast, actionable tips and advice to help you price smarter, market bigger, and grow your food business online. From passion to profits, your recipe for success begins right here. Now let's start the show. Hey, 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 hey. I always start our podcast saying, hey, 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 because I'm worried if I don't, people will go, wait, is this really them?
Yes,
I just like it too. I don't know.
She talks like that normally, just so everybody knows.
That's true. I do. Well, Merry Christmas. We are celebrating. We're having a celebration. It's the end of the year. And it's Christmas, and happy Christmas. Like your background over there. What's happening?
Yeah, pretty fancy. Pretty fancy. Just,
you like my lights?
Yeah, I love your lights. Did you do that?
These are fake. These are fake. These are real.
Yeah, and that I keep looking at the hat thing on your head, and sometimes I think it's a knife, an AI thing, but it's not. That's actually
it's
a headband.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. So I have, for those of you who have never seen one of these, this is an assault gun. Assault gun, ASALT gun that kills flies, right? And I hate, my entire family knows I hate flies. Hate them. So my brother-in-law actually got me this one. This is my second one because I blew my other one out. But basically, for those of you who can't see it, it looks like a machine gun. So Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. And it at the end it shoots out, like right here, you put salt right there, and then it shoots out salt like in a spray, and then it'll kill a fly from it'll kill a fly from about 2 feet out. And so anyway, it's very friggin' cool. Oh, I'm gonna shoot it right now. Do you hear that? Anyway.
I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it. But then there's salt all over the house, so you just gotta go around and sweep it up. If you're like, don't like flies.
I always say to myself, you moved in the wrong place, because she's surrounded by ranches with with farm animals. So that's why she has so many flies in her house.
Well, it's that and the fact that Mike will go outside and leave the door wide open. So he always hears me yell, flies! I just yell, flies! Whether they're coming in or not, anyway. Oh my God. Well, anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff. Hey, so we thought today what we would talk about is getting set up for 2026, success tips for 2026. If you are going to get, seriously serious about your cottage food or charcuterie business, whatever it is you're doing, cooking, making food, putting together wonderful, beautiful platters, whatever you got going. If you really, really want to ramp it up, that's what we're going to talk about today. Things that you might want to start planning for, considering. I don't know if you're one of those folks that are interested at all in turning this into a full-time gig, and maybe you're only doing it part-time right now, and maybe your goal for 26 is to turn it into a full-time gig. This is the podcast for you, is what I'm thinking. So we're excited to have you guys here. Welcome. What's going on up there, sis? Anything good?
Not much. I know everybody knows we're in Arizona. I live in northern Arizona, kind of near Sedona and Prescott. And Patty lives down in the valley, which we like to call Phoenix and Scottsdale.
The Phoenix metro area. Yeah.
You guys are still in the high 70s, 80s. I am sitting on 70s during the day, so pretty fortunate. We still haven't gotten cold, which is weird.
Yeah, it's actually absolutely gorgeous here.
Yeah.
It has been, and I think they're saying this could be a record weather week
Hmm.
for coming. Which my brother, who's coming in from our brother who's coming in from Michigan, is going to be real happy when he gets here. So,
Yeah.
because it's going to
Yeah.
be
Because
nice.
he's, yeah,
Yeah.
poor guy's
So
been getting,
yeah.
he's already scooped
Well,
his
it's
driveway.
hard to get into the Christmas spirit because we are from the Midwest or the Mideast. We're from the Midwest, I guess. Why do they say it Midwest? It's not Midwest.
I don't know
Anyway,
why they
we
call it that.
yeah, we grew up and graduated high school out of suburbs of Detroit and Michigan, and so we know what it's like to be in the cold weather. So we are sorry for everyone who's freezing their butts off right now. But
Hmm.
come out to Arizona and visit us. We'll set up a meeting, a meetup or something. We'd love to let us
Yeah.
know when you're in town. We'd love to meet up with you.
Hmm.
All right, cool. So that's our plan. We're going to talk about some, tips and advice. I think. Probably what we want to do is people understand that more and more people are starting to get into the home-based food business, partly because of our economic environment, right? So as a result of that, I think more and more people that are wanting to buy and purchase from people that are selling this kind of stuff are a lot more educated
Hmm.
in buying from people on, like this, right? I think they are. I mean, I know from, being in all the groups, seeing people inquire about the kind of products and how to buy them and how to get them. So they're getting more aware of it. So if you're not aware that they're getting more aware, I think you need to get on some of the groups. Try to join as many online Facebook groups and things like that as you can to just kind of the people that are actually looking for this kind of food. And so there are plenty of groups out there that do that. In fact, I think locally that one's called Hot Plates or Plates, Hot
Hmm.
Plates, I think it
Hmm.
is.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Plates. So in your area, you probably do. And so as a result of that, people that are wanting to order, they're not going to want to like, I mean, they're going to be way more sophisticated, most likely if they do order a lot. And I think, don't you agree, Andrew, that people wanting to get more food from home-based food, because for one, it's really expensive to go out and eat right now.
Hmm.
And if you could make prepared food or food that they could pick up and just, and make it less expensive on them and their families, not to say you need to give your stuff away, but
Right.
I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, I think if I wasn't a cook myself, I'd be out trying to find alternatives to cooking myself, but also not going to a restaurant because it's so expensive,
Hmm.
right? Don't
Hmm.
you think? I don't know.
Yeah,
You have
I
a lot of
do
that up
think
there?
so. Yeah, I mean, I think the trend, this is my personal opinion from doing, I do, for those that don't know, while I do charcuterie to me, charcuterie is actually the side hustle in my world. But I do farmers markets and public markets and things like that and sell my dry cottage produced goods at home. And in these environments in person and online, I'm selling like crazy right now off of Etsy and my website. So I'm sending these things out as gifts. But with that said, what I find at the markets is people just not wanting to buy the preservative filled foods that they find in the grocery store. So if that means buying the bread and they're also big on supporting people who are doing this kind of stuff
Yeah, right,
because they, number one, are getting a healthier product. They don't want to do it themselves. And they just like the idea of supporting somebody, especially locally, who is, working their butt off to produce something that is healthier for them.
right.
So it's not always about price. Now, again, you don't want to get nutty and price something completely
Yeah,
outrageous because then people
right.
are just going to walk right on past you. I know, for example, I will say there's this guy who makes crepes at one of our farmers markets
That's
here. And the amount that he was charging for one crepe, I was like, dude, you are so far out of range. I don't even know. Like nobody was going there. I know I walked up. I love crepes because I lived in, Europe for a lot of years and I know what the good ones taste like. And I thought, oh my God, the guy's got a crepe machine. I walk up and he was like, and I'm not going to tell everybody
I'm
what
a,
it was, but
uh,
I will tell you
uh,
that it was completely outrageous.
uh,
And so be careful. Don't
Yeah.
overprice your stuff.
And come on now. I mean, how much is flour, water, and a little bit of sugar?
Exactly.
I mean,
Maybe,
really?
yeah.
And an egg.
Yeah, maybe the machine cost him money, which I agree, but that's part of your startup cost. And
Yeah,
then,
spread
in
out.
the end, that shouldn't really affect your everyday pricing. Like keep things within a reasonable range. And you may have to test it out. You may say, start off with a bread being 12 or 14 or whatever it is you feel is justifiable in your neighborhood. And you start off with a price. And if by the end of that farmer's market or whatever, the last hour, the last 2 hours, drop it down and see what happens. Because number
Yeah,
one, you don't want to be stuck with the product. You'd be serving, breadcrumbs to your birds. But it just, you got to work with it a little bit. It takes time and it takes a few markets to figure out what the correct price is going to be where you're going to sell in volume to make sure that it's worth your time and effort.
right,
Um,
right.
that's my two
Well,
cents on that. And I see a lot of people left over where, they might have one cupcake and it's a beautiful cupcake, granted, but they want $15 for it. Like, hello, that's not going to,
yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, to get back to the subject on this is that we want to know, does it make sense for people to buy from private
Yeah.
cottage food owner versus going to a restaurant? Because I think in the end, your value should be better, but in the end, they also would pay a little more if they
Hmm.
were getting something that they knew was going to be fresher, that was
Hmm.
probably, I mean, honestly, it depends on how you're promoting yourself, but if you have a niche like, it's all gluten free or it's low fat or it's like, I mean, get into a niche too, because that'll help. People will pay a little more for that because they can't get it anywhere else. So, come up with maybe some really more niched out products for yourself, so that people will see a value in wanting to pay a little more for
Hmm.
something. And then they don't have to cook. You could pre-make, I mean, you obviously have to check your rules and the laws in your area, but like I just saw someone the other day saying, can I just sell the pre-made cinnamon rolls but not cooked and just let them take them home and bake them? I would say yes in Arizona, but you really got to check on that because you
Yeah.
got to give instructions, make sure they're not eating raw dough. I mean, I don't know, you got to check.
Mm-hmm.
But point is, people kind of wanting more of all the homemade thing and they'll pay extra for it, right? The other part about all this too is trying to be more, I mean, we're in a reality check right now. If you're really serious about this, you really need to double down on how you're delivering and how people are ordering. Does DM me and let me know you want some and I'll put them
Hmm.
on the list? Is that real professional? That's up to you. I think starting with something like that, but then giving them a link where they can actually go to a website and order, which by the way, I have to keep throwing it out there. That's what we do. We help you with that part. Um, but let's get a little more professional if you guys are really serious about wanting to ramp this up and make this a full-time gig for yourself. Even if
Hmm.
it's not full-time, you still save yourself some energy and time and try to get this stuff set up so that you can automate some of the ordering that's going on, right? So I think the businesses that are going to do really well are going to be the ones that are getting organized and getting themselves set up for, true looking businesses and not just, hey, I'm making, bread and
Right.
who wants a loaf? Hey friends, it's Patty here. Before we get back into the episode, I've got something really tasty for you. If you're dreaming about starting or growing your home-based food or charcuterie business, we've put together a whole bundle of free resources just for you, including calculators, marketing guides, AI prompts, our free Facebook group, everything you need to get yourself up and running as fast as possible. Oh, and don't miss our free webinar training on how to launch your business the smart way. You can grab it all at grazingbiz.com/resources. That is grazingbiz.com/resources. Oh, and if you're loving the value we bring you each week, do me a huge favor. Make sure to follow the show, hit us up with a 5-star rating, and share this podcast with someone who needs a little nudge to start their own food business journey. Your thoughtful follow and ratings help move our little podcast up the ranks of podcast land and gives us even more incentive to keep providing you even more food business success tips, advice, and resources. Thanks so much. We appreciate you. Alrighty, let's dive back into the rest of the podcast.
I will tell you that that seems to be how it starts. If it
You
starts
know,
that way, great. But that's not, we're encouraging you all to get a little bit beyond
you get a little more business
The
like
Facebook
what?
thing that says, "Hey, I'm making sourdough this weekend. Who wants a loaf?" And I agree. And that
I
is
know, you got to
actually how
start.
you see it start. And
Sure.
then somehow or another, a year later, they've got a full-blown business. So you do have to start somewhere. That's not where we're saying we're not suggesting you do that, because the time that goes into posting and then DMing and getting back and forth and setting up a time for this, that, and whatever is just, it's
Yeah,
crazy, especially if you have another job. I don't know how these people do it. They're up all night. And you see that
I
on these
know.
groups where they're complaining about, I was up all night, da 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 da. I don't know if
Yeah,
this is worth it. It's because you're not doing it procedurally correct. There's just better
yeah.
ways. So
Get
we're glad
organized.
y'all are here.
On that same note, as far as, and I have to laugh because, even on this little teeny level, so I don't know if I've mentioned in the past that there's this gal, and I am out in the desert in Arizona. We live in an area where there's a lot of acreage and deserty. So there's this gal that sets up a ta literally it's a table and an umbrella, and she's done this in the heat of summer. She
Mm,
sets up out there on the side of the road because she can, and excuse me, I still got this stupid cough. And she um, and I was driving by her like a month or two ago thinking, we're all driving about 50 to 60 miles an hour past her, right? Don't even know she's there till you come up on her. Well, I had to give her credit because I was thinking the other day about it. And I'm thinking, that someday I'm going to stop because I want to throw my card at her, but I haven't had time because you know why? I fly by her at 60 miles an hour. And by the time I realize she's there, I'm past her. But I was thinking to myself when I saw her the last time that she really needs to set up some signs, kind of like a garage sale, saying on both sides, I'm here. Well, guess what? Yesterday I drove by, she had one of those sandwich board signs out not far enough ahead in my book. I would have put it out maybe another 100 yards forward from both
mhm,
sides to
mhm.
get, because I didn't catch it until I was still going 60 miles an hour too fast. But I'm going to give her credit because she actually figured that part out, right? So she's moving along,
Yeah.
so she probably would use some help if I would stop by, I would think. Anyway, I don't want to, I am going to next time try to stop by and see because
I
I think
forget.
she must sell out. Because she shows
Remind
up
me
all the
what she
time.
sells again. I can't, what?
Sourdough. Yeah, she's
Oh,
selling
sourdough.
sourdough. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, part of the problem
So
is you drive
yeah.
too fast. Can I just say
What?
that?
Was that
My sister has a,
so?
what do you call it? Yeah, my sister has one of those metal foots or whatever it is they call, because she drives
Yeah, I do.
ridiculous. But
Well,
with
I'm a
that
realtor.
said,
I'm trying
yeah,
to, I am a realtor.
with
Don't
that
forget.
said, yeah, I could see that. Like, you do like the garage sale sign, and you do one, maybe 200 feet away, and then maybe one another 200 feet before that, coming up sourdough on the right hand
All
side or
right.
whatever.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's a great way to get started. However you're going to get started, people get started. That's all I
Yeah,
ever
that's
say
right.
is get
Yeah.
started. And we're
Right.
here to help.
So I think also the key thing is to focus not so much, not always just on profit, even though profit is so important, and not, or I'm sorry, to focus on profit versus sales. Like
Right.
selling is one thing, but you really need to focus on how am I actually making money? You know why?
Right.
Because selling out of your goods doesn't mean that you actually made money. That's great that you sold out, but you actually, when you figure out, and we've brought this up a number of times, how much time did you put into it to make those loaves of sourdough bread and then sit on the side of the road? And in the end, after all of that time you put into it, is it making sense to you,
Hmm.
right? I was telling Andrea, she doesn't know what this is yet because I'm making gifts for Christmas. And I
Hmm.
didn't tell her because I'm making her something. And everybody's getting some version of what I'm making. And then I told Mike because he's helping me out and he's actually over at Home Depot right now buying me some things but that I need. And I said, well, I'm really pushing to try to get all this stuff done before Christmas. We have all of our kids and everybody coming over this weekend. And I said, God, I wonder what people sell these for. Because what I'm making can be sold. And so we got online and I'm like, it has to be at least this much because this is kind of a new artsy fartsy thing I'm doing. It's not food related, but, and I'll tell you all later. I'll show you after Christmas because I can't do it now. I don't want Andrew to know what I'm making. So
Anticipation
anyway,
time.
point I'm making is how much time is it taking me to make this thing? And I told my husband I wouldn't sell it less for $100 because I know how much this is taking me to make this. Not even counting the cost of the
Stuff.
stuff to make it with. What do you call it? The products that I need to make it. So we got online, and I mean, depending on the size of what we're making, it could run anywhere between 100. I know I'm probably everyone's salivating right now. What
I
is she
know.
talking
The
about? But
hell?
I'm gonna set you up so you show back up after the first of the year, because I'm not selling them. I'm giving them away right now, but I might sell them someday. Actually, we're getting to a point where he may help me out and make them too. But anyway, it's fun. But the point is, don't invest time into something because you have to count your time, right?
Yeah.
And I think many food business forget to count that. You really need, and on top of the cost of the ingredients, right? And I think for 26, do you think the prices on things for our ingredients are going to go up or down, right? This is huge right now in
Hmm.
26. It's very questionable. I mean, it
Yeah.
depends on what you believe in and what you think, but in my opinion, prices are not going down. They're
No.
going up.
Hmm.
So you've got
Yeah.
to take that into account when you're pricing things. And if somebody complains, you could just tell them, listen, go make this on your own. Add it all up, you know? People
Yeah.
come and complain. You know what? Turn the other way. I didn't ask you to come to my store. If you don't like
Yeah.
my pricing, go somewhere else, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
I know. And it's tough because you go to these markets and things like that, and you do get people who try to bargain with you.
mhm.
And I've seen a lot of comments about that recently because all of us that the groups that I'm in, the vendor groups and things that I'm in and participate in, there's a lot of complaining about that where people are coming up and trying to, cut deals. It's one thing to cut a deal, but like I guess my thing is, um, we price things for a reason to make sure that we cover our goods and our time like we're talking about, and just be careful about that. I do get people that come up and ask me, can I get two for something, or can I get it for
Yeah,
this price? And I give vendors within the markets $1 off
deals.
on my stuff
Yeah,
depending on what it is. And that's only because we're all working so hard. And I know what I can afford. I know how I priced out these things in order for them to be affordable. I am not overcharging. I'm charging right where I should. And if I'm willing to give a vendor a little cut, that's fine because they'll,
yeah,
sell me something for a better price. But the reality is it is tough to do that and to get suckered in. But it is kind of frustrating when people come up and, the first thing out of the mouth is, will you sell it for like, I don't know, $5 cheaper? Like, hell no, I won't. Like, okay,
hmm
so I'm here to make money. I'm not here to give you a deal.
Yeah, I
So
don't even know
it's
you from
tough.
Adam. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
right,
Exactly. Like it's really, really tough. And so you just gotta stand your ground and be nice about things and always be
right,
nice and mindful about things.
right.
And it's never
Yeah,
easy.
and so
Anyway.
when you're pricing too, if you can price it and try to push the price a little bit every time you do this too, and especially if prices are going up for everything that you have to purchase in order for the product to get out.
Mhm.
I mean, the time is one thing, but obviously the amount that you're spending on this stuff is a
Right.
whole other part of this. But if you can push it a little bit, that's going to give you a little bit more breathing room, I think, so that you have
Yeah.
some opportunity to grow even more. So you have to give yourself to test the waters. I don't think hurting testing the waters every now and then, add another dollar to your product next time you sell it and see if you can get away with it. And if you have a lot of people complaining or walking by because the crepes are too expensive, then maybe that's a sign, right? So,
Exactly. I
right?
felt bad because this guy, like, they look delicious. He prepped all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, you were so overpriced.
Yeah.
But so with that being said, always consider your pricing, what you cost to get in there, your foot traffic. Sometimes it can add up to be decent in volume. Now, in my case, when I price things out, I'm very mindful, as Patty knows, about the cost of what I'm spending. So, granted, I'm not driving all over town, but I have figured out the best places to buy the products that I need to make these
Yeah.
goods. And in the beginning, also remember that it becomes easier. So like let's say when I first started making the products that I make, it probably took me forever to make it the first time, to make a batch of what I'm making.
Right.
And now I can pop them out like without even having to think about it. So there is that. The more you produce, the easier it comes to make, and you're not spending forever.
Yeah.
I know exactly how long
Practice.
it's going to take me to make whatever number of things that I need to make. So
That's a
I am
really good
also
point.
making our gifts for our family. I didn't tell
What is it?
Patty
What
this
is it?
earlier. You know what? Just because I'm spiteful as the younger sister, I'm not telling you shit. So I have been testing the waters the last couple of weeks. It was a new craft and I told mom the same thing on the phone the other day. She said, "No, I want to know what it is." I go, "No one's, I'm not telling nobody." But
Yeah,
the point of the matter is I am in that struggling first stages of trying to make
I
something,
am too.
and it is costing me more because I don't know where to buy the products. I don't know how much of the product I need to buy to make this thing.
Hmm.
So therefore I'm, messing around with it, and it's been fun, and that's part of the process.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not whatever Patty's making, which I'm excited about now. I'm going to be up in the middle of the night
If you
thinking,
look over there, you'll see. No, you can't. I was
oh,
gonna
don't do
point.
that. So
No, I'm not. I'm
uh,
kidding.
so my point being that it becomes easier when you figure out your procedures, it will come easier and it won't take so long. So keep that in mind. So the first few times you do make sourdough or whatever it is you're making, cupcakes, whatever, there's going
Yeah.
to be a learning curve that happens, and then it becomes so much easier. Like I'm 3 years into doing the things that I sell at markets, and I don't even think about it anymore. I don't think about
Yeah.
it. It just comes to me.
I
I don't even,
think
you know,
something that came out of your mouth a second ago that you didn't even realize that is so important to this whole process is it's fun.
it's fun.
And that is something that I think has so much to do with it because then your pain and agony that you're doing is not actually has been, reduced because for one, you're doing it something that's fun. For two, you're doing it for yourself. We were
Mhm.
just discussing this as opposed for somebody else. Like working so hard to make money for someone else actually is way more fun when you're doing it for yourself.
Mhm.
And you'll give yourself a little more leeway if it's going to take a little bit longer. And I'm with you. I'm doing this thing. It's new to me. I have not been perfect on these things I'm making, and I'm figuring it out. And so you
Mhm.
practice. And I love the practice part as soon as it doesn't cost you a lot. In my case, it's not costing me anything but time.
Mhm.
But it's very fun, and when you're having fun, everything is easier, and you don't feel so bad if you're spending a little more time on things because you're testing it out. So
Right.
now let me ask you this, and I know the answer, I think. If I was to ask you, Andrea, what is your signature item that you sell? What would that be?
The signature item is dry soup mix.
Yep, I knew it.
I create all the recipes myself. I worked on this packaging that I have, searched high and low for
Hmm.
what I sell them in and how they how they're shown at the markets and online
Yep.
and everything like that. And um, I make new recipes. I don't necessarily, I might take a recipe from, some of these dry good, there's a lot of homesteaders and stuff like that online. I might take something, go, hey, that sounds kind of good, but I think it needs to be tweaked. I'll always try, obviously, the recipe first, and then I always turn them into my own or just completely take something and
Yep.
just completely redo it because I'm like gross. So it depends on what it is. But
Ooh.
I know exactly. That's a good one. So, but one of the things that I do that's way different than most of these people is that the ingredients that go in, what I did realize is that dried vegetables and fruits and things that I use within these mixes, I don't like the processed ones that you buy at the store
Hmm.
or wherever. I actually dry dehydrate all of my own ingredients that I
Right.
can. So that doesn't include beans and things like that, but all the vegetables, all the fruits, including onions and garlic when I have to. Everything I do myself. So I'm in the process. I don't have any running right now, but pretty much every day I'm dehydrating something.
Dehydrating, yeah.
And I am considering buying another dehydrator to speed up that process. I looked
Right.
at,
Well,
so that's my
that's your
main
signature
thing.
item,
That's where I make all the money. I have other fun things on
the
my,
big money.
right. That's where the money comes from.
Hmm.
And I
So the
enjoy
point
it.
on, yeah, and the point on this is simplifying what you're doing so that
Hmm.
you can niche it down into your signature items. And if really too many menu items are going to slow down all of your decisions and everything that you're doing because you just don't know where to go. I mean, you're like squirrels. I mean, like, what can I make this? I know because I live this in my head daily. Oh,
Mhm.
wait, I want to go frost cupcakes. No, no, and I want to make cinnamon rolls. No, no, I want to go outside and build a house. I mean, I honestly, that's my it's bad.
Oh,
I
that is
can't get
exactly
anything
you.
done.
That is exactly my sister. Like I have to tell her, slow down. Wait, wait,
It's
wait.
true. Yeah,
So
not just in the car, but
yeah,
but that's my brain because
that's
I'm
true.
constantly an entrepreneur brain thinking, oh, I just want to do everything because it all sounds so fun.
Yeah.
And so there's that, okay, you could have too many items and too many things going on that if you can simplify your offers and the things that you want to do and just really trim it back and not try to do cookies and
Hmm.
cupcakes and
Hmm.
and then also charcuterie boards or tamales and just do everything, you're really
Yeah.
hurting yourself,
Right.
I think in the end. So that signature, that one major signature item that everybody knows you as the go-to person,
Hmm.
that's going to be key. And if it's something that that you could really promote easily, that's even better because, customers really just want to be guided. And if you have that one thing or a couple, two, three things, couple, two, three, that's our
I
favorite
was gonna
saying.
say you sound like
Um,
mom.
I know that you're gonna really find that it's gonna make your life better, and then it's also gonna help you reduce stress and reduce mistakes and probably costs on things. So try to really trim back on that, and I think you're gonna find you'll end up with more consistency and better margins on how
Hmm.
much you're making too, because you know when you go to the store, whatever it is you're going to do, you know how much you need to dehydrate every single time.
Right.
What I love about your dehydration part is that you set it and basically forget it for hours and you can go do
Hmm.
something else. So that's actually good for you because you're not,
Hmm. Yeah.
having to go in there and cook all this stuff down and I don't know anyway, but
But yeah,
so
I mean,
there's
with that said, you are correct in not overdoing it on the number of things that you should have. I currently have 6 soups, 4 muffin mixes because I decided to foray into a dessert type of item because that's just what people like, and 3 all-purpose seasonings, different all-purpose seasonings.
I love them.
So the reality is those are my money makers. And then I have other things on my table, which my daughter helps me make keychains that are everything I have is food related. So the keychains look like food. They got food
Hmm.
charms on them and things. And I make earrings, which most of the time I can't even put those on the table because I go into shows now that are juried, and so a lot of times there's too many jewelry makers, so they won't let me do it, which is fine.
Mm.
It's no big deal.
Like
It's
I
not a
made
big,
these earrings, these little
yeah,
Christmas ball earrings.
but they're not the biggest
No,
money maker, so I don't care.
no.
It's just I do those when I feel like it, and it's fun. Everything
Table
I do,
filler.
everything I have done has come from being fun and passionate about. So it just that's the goal here is for you to, if you decide to quit your job or whatever, make sure that what you're doing is you're passionate about it because then you won't want to do it anymore. And
Yeah, that's true.
I that scares me more than anything. I swore to myself a long time ago when I went to culinary school, I never wanted to be in a job that I did not enjoy. And
Yeah.
that way it doesn't necessarily feel like work. So when I'm making soups or whatever, or dehydrating vegetables or whatever I'm doing, I know that I enjoy doing this stuff
Yeah.
and it's fun and it's
Yeah.
pleasing. So
Okay. Well, our
anyway.
next tip for 26 is to have you start building trust before you start selling. So if this is something that's new for you, or you are, everyone's told you that you should do this because you do all this and give it away. Because a lot of people, that's how people get started.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are doing that, where we started
Right.
and to start giving it away. Like the stuff that I'm doing, I'm like, I'm going to give all this away, but maybe I can make money on it. But what we kind of want to do is what can you do to start building trust before you actually start marketing your things if you're new to this? People will eat with their eyes first, right? So when it comes to food, what you want to do is start really letting the world know that you do this. And you don't have to sell it. You could just go, oh, look what we made. Like I talked about my husband's crazy pie that he made, not that he's going to do it, but people were really impressed with that. It's that kind of stuff where he was latticing this pie and I did a video or a picture and posted it and people like, what?
I
He
know.
makes pies. I didn't know he made pie. He's 71. He made pie for the first time. But bottom line is, people were impressed with that, right? So that's going to build confidence in people eventually because they're going to see you setting your basic. They don't need to know that you're setting yourself up to do this. Just start telling the world what you're doing. And if you have some good photographs, by the way, I've been wanting to get this out, and I've just been too busy with other stuff. But I have this app that I'm working on to help you clean up your photographs. But you can go and do this on AI now. So if you take a photograph of your food, you can go and throw it into Nano Banana, a Gemini, Google Gemini. And I just heard ChatGPT now is just literally over the last couple of days came out with a new image upgrade. So you can throw in images and have them clean those up. So you might want to look into that because you can tell the thing to put it on a table or, put better light on it or, you remove that brown colored frosting. I mean, you could do that if you wanted to. Don't, promote it's something that's not real necessarily. And I
Yeah.
will say this, my virtual assistant, I love him. I told him today, I said, hey, so I want you to find some photos of me. I don't care where you go on Facebook and find some photos of me and put me in all different locations. Put me out in air outside, have me reading my book. Just make sure that you've got my body in there so I don't look like this little twig because I'm not. I'm almost 6 foot tall for those of you who don't know, and Andrew's about a foot
I'm a
shorter than
midget.
me.
I'm
She's
a
a
midget.
midget. I'm a little taller and bigger than her in general, but I said don't put. We got to make sure you get something with my body in it. And so right before we got on, I sent Andrew a few of these pictures. You should look at them while I'm talking to you. That he sent these photos over that he has totally put me in different scenes, and so we can use them for our advertising. And it's cracking me up. It's pretty hilarious. But same thing you can do with your food, right? If you want to have a picture of yourself holding your food, you can do that. So just heads up, maybe I'll do a little YouTube video on how to do this because it's very fun. And AI is just an amazing thing. But you go to
Those are
the
really
free
cool.
version.
I'm sorry, I never saw that. I didn't notice that you sent those. So
I
those are
just
super
sent them
cool.
while we were talking,
Oh,
right
okay.
before we got on. I sent them to you because I wanted to show them to you for this.
Oh,
But
cool.
anyway, you can, and so I said, make sure my book is in the picture. So he did one where I'm holding my book, because we're doing marketing stuff. So it's pretty cool. But you want to present, you want to have people trust you. So the more you can get out there and look more professional, your presentation. And then this way, when you do that, you can justify your pricing, right? And it's going to
Hmm.
build just way more, people are just going to trust you and they're going to, you're going to be more reliable looking online, right? So, have you done any, I know you've done some AI stuff. What have you done recently? Anything for any of the stuff you're doing? Nothing lately? As
No,
far as
not
using,
not
or any images, you taking pictures of stuff at all?
no,
None of
not
that yet?
really. I haven't
Yeah, not
needed
lately.
to with what I'm
Yeah.
doing, but I did want to chime in about the trust thing. One of the things that helps me at the markets is the fact that I have a website. It does
Mm-hmm.
create a situation where people are, I hate social media, just so everybody knows, I can't stand it, but I got to do it. It's part of the business. It is probably the one part that I don't enjoy. So for
Yeah.
those of you who feel like I do, understand that we can help you with that. And it
Mm-hmm.
does make it so much easier because we have a way to do the posting and all that jazz without it being so painful. And I'm going back to that with the website thing. Even just a basic landing page, someplace where they can find you online for whatever reason makes you validated. And so
Yes.
they know that you're not some scammer taking their credit card, tap to pay, whatever it is you're doing, and you're not some
Yeah.
freak taking their money and going to come in and steal everything from you. They realize that you're a real person. I don't know how or why mentally that's the way it works, but it does work, and it doesn't take much to make that happen.
Mm-mm.
Just having that website or landing page or some scan code that they can look at and go, oh, cool. You know,
Right.
I can't tell
No,
you how
good
many people
call.
go to my QR code at the shows that I'm at, and I have received repeat sales from people who've bought something from me and said, I want to
Mm-hmm.
have that. Now, granted, once they go online, and I do warn them, if you don't buy it here and you decide to buy it online, it's going to cost you a little bit more because there's shipping involved. So
Right.
that's how that works. But you really, really should have something online to validate your who you are and what you do.
Right. And again, as Andrew said, good call on that. Absolutely true is that everything she said was spot on. And if you're lost on where to get started, definitely tap into all of our, go to raisingbiz.com/resources.
Mhm.
You will see we've got ways to reach us, various different things we offer to help you. But again, that's a fine example of a simple landing page that I threw together basically to throw in everything that we do to help people. But that is instilling trust because it just shows you that we are actually a legit business doing what we do, helping other people outside of
Mhm.
the other stuff we do. I
I
mean,
know.
heck, I just got a house under contract last week, so we're kind of talking about juggling a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
But I have to laugh because Andrea goes, she hates social media, and it's time consuming. Totally get it. And at the same time, I want to tell you it's important, but stop
Mhm.
relying on it solely.
Yeah.
You don't have to rely solely on your social media because if you're doing good at capturing information from your prospects, people that are showing interest in what you sell at every event, even if they might go by, and if you're not handing out cards or giving them a QR code to go to so they can see, hey, maybe now's not the time to buy my stuff, but there might be a time, so
Mhm.
let me get you in on my quote unquote mailing list, or figure out a
Yeah.
way to give away that free lead magnet, some way that you can capture their email and their name at minimum. At minimum, I say, because if you can get their phone number, that would be great. And then you can text them. But then now you've got people that you're not counting on social media to get you out there organically. You
Right.
don't have to because you've captured their email address and now you can email them or text them, hey, I've got a deal going on this week. I don't know
Mhm.
how it was, but I got in on this list of it's like baskets of like fresh fruit and things. I think because I don't exactly know what happened, but if there's like a farmer in town that sells like stuff, then he gets when he has leftovers, he does deals. I got baskets of apples and baskets of oranges and all this stuff, and I get texts from this company once a week. I don't know how I got on the list, but I'm sure I signed up for something because you have to get people that you can't just randomly start texting and emailing people. They have to opt in. This is like law, by the way, for
Right.
those of you who don't know this. So you
Mhm.
want to give them some irresistible reason to want to give you their information. But once you get that, now you own that. And unless they opt out, which you don't want to be spamming them stuff every minute, but you want to give them some good values of stuff that deals or whatever your offers are. Now you've got a way to stay in front of them. You don't have to count on social media to do that. By the way, our
Mhm.
software and everything we offer does do this stuff. And I bring it up because it's what I do every single day of the week,
Mhm.
and just get them in. And now a lot of this follow up can be automated, right? So owning that audience is really, really key. I can't even tell you how important it is. And we've talked about it a few times is just try to capture information from anybody showing any interest at all. So if you do DM somebody and say, hey, I got some loaves, who wants some? Let me grab your email before we do
Right.
anything else. Let me give you your email address. That's a minimum. You got their name and their email. First name, minimum. The minimum you want to get ideally is a first name and an email because now you can automate that follow up and personalize it by plugging in the first name automatically, which we call merge codes in these in the legal, I mean in my marketing terms. but you can personalize the letters with their names in them. And you can personalize the texts that go out. Everything can be automated from that point forward.
Mhm.
So, God, I'd love to really hit this really heavy in 2026 with many of you because I think you're missing out on opportunities,
Mhm.
your farm stands, the bread lady down the street, if she had a big old QR code out there, I could swing in, I could slam on my brakes and stop and scan her QR code off of a
Cause an
sign.
accident at that light because you're going 65 miles an hour and at 55. You
Yeah,
don't
there's no
encourage
light.
that.
Yeah,
Telling
do as
you,
I say, not as I do.
yeah, she's a lead foot, y'all. She is a lead
Yeah,
foot.
I
I'm
know it's
hanging
fun.
on to the sides when I'm driving with her.
Well, Andrew, why don't you talk a little bit about another way to get out there is to start signing up for these markets. So you want to chat a little because I know you're in the process of trying to
Yes.
get signed up. You're dealing with some jury type markets and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Why don't you
Yeah.
like where would they go to find out available markets? I guess for
Okay.
the first thing, right?
Okay.
Because now
So
might be the time. Yeah, spring's coming.
if you are just starting out and you're thinking about doing this, which is how it started for me, I literally was at Christmas 3, 4 years ago, whenever that was, trying to decide what to do with my world. And I just joined a bunch of local groups. And so there's always local, like, vendor groups, and we've talked about this before. The first, you want to start small. So start with your local churches, start with your local little craft fairs going on in the high schools and the elementary schools, or parking lots of your whatever's going on. Tractor Supply is one of those places that does them for free. Test out the waters to see how you want your thing to set up. And then, so there's vendor groups on Facebook. I hate Facebook, but this is one of the good things about it. You can get in
Yeah.
on those vendor groups, find out where the local ones are, find the ones that seem to agree with you the most and with your product. And they don't always have to be farmers markets because we're talking about food. They can be any kind of craft fair.
Hmm.
So, and then from there, as you get bigger or feel more confident about your booth and your sales possibilities, you can go to places. Now, I don't know if we're going to put this in the notes or not, but festival, festival, oh my gosh, let me look real quick. So let's go back. Zapplication.com is one
Hmm.
of the big festival places, which is where I'm at in several juries right now. I do only really large ones, and once in a while I'll do a local one because a church or a high school people know me now and they might ask me, can you be in this show? We love your stuff.
Hmm.
Those ones I will do on occasion depending on the situation. But I'm sorry, zapplication.org. So
Hmm.
zapplication.org is one of them. The other
Okay.
one is festivalnet.com, just like it sounds.
Hmm.
So those two are the bigger ones that I go through. There are some other smaller ones, the Pop-Up Pros and Molly at Eventney. If you do your research, you can find these different places, but those are the two bigger ones that I use to go
Can you
to.
give a warning though for scam artists out
Yes,
there?
I was going
Yeah,
to get there.
scam artist
So,
festivals.
especially on Facebook, there are people, believe it or not, trying to scam our little businesses because they're everywhere. They're in every business, they're just everywhere. So what they'll do is pretend that they're an organizer for an event. So for example, I applied for our Tempe Festival of the Arts down in the Valley, and there was somebody on Facebook who was saying there was space available. And I was like, what the hell? I thought their deadline passed. Their jury was over. I reached out to them. The lady started hounding me through, DMs on Facebook through Messenger. She's hounding me and hounding me. So I finally reached out to the actual it's done, the Tempe Festival of the Arts is done by the Chamber of Commerce in Tempe, Arizona. So I actually called him and I said, hey, did you know who is this person? And she
Hmm.
she called me back right away and was like, oh my Lord.
Scam
And I go,
city.
yeah, this person is saying that there's space available and they can get us in and it's a $50 fee and blah blah blah. And I almost paid it because I
Ah,
wanted in. But and I knew something was wrong because I know that Tempe Festival of the Arts, I'm not going to lie, people, when you do want to do the bigger ones, they're not cheap, but you will get your money back a
yeah,
hundredfold, you know.
yeah.
So with that said, she was shocked. And I know that my son-in-law's father is now getting into the vendor business. He's retired and he does tumbling rocks and stuff like that. And he got scammed into something that was down in Scottsdale and lost $150 because he paid
Oh, God.
somebody online through the Facebook thing.
Oh,
So
no.
what I will say, one way you can check this is if, let's say, Zapplication and Festival Net, they don't put anything on there that isn't legit. Okay, most of the main websites will not put anything that they haven't followed up on to make sure their information is correct. When you're on Facebook and you're in a vendor group, they don't, obviously, Facebook could care less. They don't check anything. Maybe the admin might check, but it's really tough for them too. So
Hmm.
just be diligent. Every single festival that you sign up for should have a business that's revolving around it, whether it's a church, whether it's a school, whether it's a chamber of commerce. You need to be able to know that those people are involved with whatever that actual festival or event is because it's so easy to get suckered in. And
Right,
they
right.
ask you for the money over usually Facebook, or they'll say Venmo or Zelle or Cash App. Before you pay anything, you do your diligence and
Yeah.
double check that they are real people running the event because
Great
they
tips.
look legit. They even have websites that set up that look legit.
Yeah.
And the only way to get around it is to look up the actual place and,
Yeah,
look up.
so for instance, you were at a high school recently that was set up, but they had an agreement with the vendor.
Right,
Would it make sense for you if you were suspect about it? I know you weren't because this event's been around forever, but
right.
would you call the high school and say,
Yep,
"Hey, can I ask you a question? Are you guys
yep,
having an event? Because I don't want to make sure I'm getting not spam." And they would, if you call the high school directly, someone in the office would probably know for
right.
sure, I would
Yes, they
think.
would know. Somebody
Yeah.
would know
So,
because
yeah.
the organizer has to rent the space or make
Right.
arrangements for the space. So even if they aren't necessarily a teacher or a person who works for the school, they're going to have some sort of an agreement and they're going to have a person that's in charge. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's one way to know that it's legitimate. Just make
Right.
sure it's legitimate because it's scary. There's people out there and they'll
Yeah, I
say,
see.
so for example, Tempe Festival of the Arts is almost $800 or $900 to get in
I was going
to
to
pay
ask.
for a
Yeah.
booth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This person was online saying they had booth space and it was $50 or whatever it was. I can't remember.
You that
So
didn't
it
sound right.
seemed if it's too good to be true, then it probably is too
Mm-hmm.
good to be true and it's fake. So that's a really good red
Yeah.
flag if you know that there's no way that they're going to be offering that
Great
space for that
advice.
price.
Great
Yeah,
advice. Perfect.
right. So,
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your systems and the things that you're doing so that you can get a little more freedom and a little more security on what you're doing personally. I think, how are you taking your orders and what are you doing to automate some of that order confirmation, things like that to make your life less anxiety ridden, worrying that you might miss something. The
mhm,
other thing is your consumers or your customers are anxiety ridden over, am I getting scammed? Speaking of
right.
scamming, right?
Hmm.
So if you can set up things that can automate this, and even if it's not automated, you could, I mean, if at this point it's not part of your plan, the thing is it all can be automated with our systems. I'm going to keep hitting that home because that's why, I mean, I just, oh, anyway, if an order came in online, like, so Andrew talked about having a website, you can set it up so that an order can come in online, that it's set on a certain date so that you know what's happening, and then have the system automatically text them, email them. You could literally have it call them right now and AI a message back to them saying, we got your order.
Hmm.
Anything you can do to help yourself with that follow-up is going to help you get your business running a little more smoothly and less stress and anxiety on your end, and also it can notify you that you have an order. or maybe somebody called you or they text you or they sent you a message in social media on DM. Your systems, if you have them set up with the right systems and this all can happen, trust me, I'll show you exactly how, that the system can automatically text them back.
Hmm.
And we talked last week about if you wanted to start marketing online and say, "Hey, I have some loaves. If you're interested, type loaves in the comment." The
Hmm.
system can seriously send them back your website or your order form and have that would automatically do it by itself. And if you've ever seen this anywhere where you say, "Hey, I have 10 loaves or whatever it is you want to offer available. If you're interested, type loaves in the comments." And if you've done that, that's automated. Most
Yeah.
of it is automated.
Hmm.
Most people are doing it automated. With the people that have figured out that that works really well, it works amazingly well. So if you're going to be on social, that works. But anything that you can do to automate that whole part between the ordering and the scheduling so that you know what you need to be prepared for, and you can block that window of time. So if you knew you were going to make charcuterie boards, but you need 3 days ahead of time so you can go to get the ingredients, then you block the window before they can't order unless they're 3 days out, so that you have time to go get what you need for it if you're going to be that kind of service, right? I just can't stress enough how this is going to make you not only be much more professional, it's going to reduce the anxiety of the shoppers because they're getting stuff follow up from you that's all built in advance. You're not having to, oh my God, an order came in, I got to go, and you're sitting on the toilet responding back. Yeah, you know what I mean, on your
Been there.
phone. Right? I mean, who's not? But you're going to stress out over it and like, oh, I know when an order comes in, it's taken care of.
Yeah.
It's doing its thing, and now all I got to do, I'm getting notified too. I got an order. It's all lined
All you
up,
got to
right?
do is
So,
go and get it ready and send it out.
right.
If you
Yeah.
want to send a personal note back, of course you can, but you don't have to. And these systems also work through Messenger. It doesn't have or Instagram or whatever. So you
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to do it all through email or whatever. Just so you know, if your primary business is coming through on Facebook Messenger, that's fine. That's
Well,
totally
the
fine.
system can set it up, but we still want them ordering online,
Yeah,
ideally.
we
If you
still
really
do.
want to
Yeah.
make this
You want to
really,
push them to the website to get
yeah.
that in
But
there. Yeah,
right,
right,
that part of that, pushing them to the website so that, and telling them what they have to do is all part of the automation from the post.
right.
And so that all can happen. If you guys are at all wondering, we do have a demo. And when you go to the demo, you can see how it all works and a lot of it. And I show you what we offer and how it all, connects. Currently, now we're in December of 2025. What you're going to see is basically a demonstration for the charcuterie side of the business, but it works for anything you sell.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
just look at it, watch the demo, go to grazenbiz.com/resources and go to our demo. It's a free demo. It's, about an hour long video, show you exactly what we include in case you're all experienced or curious about it, right? So basically, really, the less chaos that you're dealing with and the consumer's dealing with is going to actually create you more sales and way better customer experience for sure, right? So just keep
Hmm.
all that in mind as you're trying to figure out, what am I doing, right? How am I getting all this set up? Are you guys still there? Oh, there you are. Okay. I was clicking around on my computer and lost you. Okay, so we're going to get ready to wrap this up. So let's have a discussion about shifting from the hobbyist to the business owner, right? If you really
Hmm.
want to ramp this up and make this a full-time gig for yourself, you've got to have a business. You have to have a plan in place, right? So, like we were saying, all the stuff we've talked about so far. What are you gonna? You have to have a plan. What do niche it down, figure out exactly what you want to sell. If you're gonna do this brand, if you're brand new, figure out just a couple of things that you'll sell. If it's even that, it could be one thing, and you're really, really good at cinnamon rolls. I mean, you can make a serious living off of cinnamon rolls if you really want to do that, right? But you got to have a plan in place and figure out all the things, all the things that you think about that you're worried about. There's answers for that, right? There's ways to deal with it. So how do you go from just being a hobbyist that everybody knows you're the best person to ever make cinnamon rolls? Everyone in your office expects you to bring them in every single year, right? And you give them away to all your friends, excuse me. And let's figure out what that takes for you to get to that, right? So when you start getting these processes in place in your brain, you can get them out so that you can start like writing them down.
Hmm.
Make a checklist of the things that you want to make sure that you get smoothed out. It's kind of like, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I got new glasses. And when I got them on this week, I'm one of those people who never needed glasses till I was in my 40s. And now I'm 60, but and my glasses I had for the first 20 years were readers. And then I got like real big girl glasses, and I've only had those for 2 years. And since I've had those, I have felt like there's been a film over my life when I put them on. I don't like them. I
Hmm.
walk around and think, why in the hell this is what people who have to wear glasses are dealing with. Well, guess what? I got new glasses, and you're just putting hers on. I got new glasses, and these glasses are tremendous. And I put them on. I'm like, holy shit, I can see and I can wear them all day long if I need to. Is this what they're really experiencing? I didn't know until I got these on that I realized I can actually see
Yeah.
and I can wear them all the time. So the point I'm making is until you start getting a clear vision of what you want to do, it's hard to move forward. And I was at a point with these glasses. Weirdly, I think I'm ever going to wear glasses. I'm just going to put them on to read, and that's it.
Hmm.
But you had an epiphany. I had an epiphany, and you don't know you're blind until you actually realize that there's another way to do it. So I think that's the key is like figure out the things that are bothering you about your business, because there is a solution for them. I guarantee it, because you're not the only one who's been selling food from home. There are very successful people doing this. Selling anything that you sell from home doesn't have to be food. I mean, we did a whole thing last week. If you missed it, is a really good podcast on how to turn your food business into a digital online business so that you can sell your knowledge.
Hmm.
And so go back and watch that because we went into great detail about how there's other ways to make money off your knowledge and passion about food. But, come up with make a list of the things that you're challenged with, and then let us help you come up with the answers because we probably have them. Between Andrea's how many years in the food cooking kitchen business, 25, 30, and my over
2025. Yeah.
yeah,
I
and my
graduated from
over
culinary school in 2000.
wow, 25 years now. Yeah, but
Mhm.
that's not to say you weren't cooking and doing stuff before that because you
Oh,
were.
yeah. That's how it
Yeah,
started. Yeah.
yeah, it's how it starts, right? But all of the experience we have, there's an answer and solution for it. And if there's not, we'll go dig around and help you find it
For
because
sure.
there is a way to do this if you're really serious about turning this into something major for you because you can do it. There is no boundaries and you can make it whatever you want it to be. There's clear processes for everything that you want to do even though you're not sure what they are now, there
Hmm.
is going to be an answer for it. You just have to trust me when I tell you this. After all the years I've been an entrepreneur, for most of my adult life, that's just kind of crazy now I think about it. For most of my adult life, I have been an entrepreneur and selling things. And so there is ways, and you shouldn't be stuck. And if it's something that you're worried about or keeping you up at night or stopping you from doing it because
Hmm.
you don't think you can deal with the technology, or you know what, there's got to be a better way because I'm not happy. I'm working too hard. I'm not making enough. It's not making sense to me. Well, then maybe that's not the right product for you, right? Maybe you need to, or maybe you're not having fun, because if
Hmm.
you're not, then you're definitely in
Right.
the wrong lane, right? So
Yeah.
there are so many ways that you can do this and stop working for others if that's what you want to do. And I highly recommend it if you don't want to work for others because you can do this and I guarantee it, you'll figure out a way to make more money if you really enjoy it. And it's if you're, slaving to somebody another job and really hate it. And I'm gathering if you're still listening to this podcast right now, you probably are in that position. Or you're somebody who is already doing it, but trying to figure out a way to make it more of a real business for
Mm-hmm.
yourself, like, we've both done. We made that leap. And was it easy? We had kids at home when we were doing, I mean, I did. Yeah, your kids, well, when you left to go into culinary school, you definitely had kids at home. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first step in your business, getting to a point where you have the guts to say, I can do this. And it's not even so much guts. You just need to know that you can do it,
Mm-hmm.
because you can. If you
Yeah.
love it, you can do it. Trust me, you can do it. You have every opportunity. Do you have anything to add to this? Because I could go on for hours about this, because I am so passionate about, and because I'm that person who says I can do anything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And problem is time and focus for me. That's a
Yeah.
big problem for me. But
Yeah. I don't have anything to add other than, as I've said over and over, and I'm sure people are sick of hearing me say it, or maybe they're not. I don't know. Just go out there and do it.
yeah.
I was not an entrepreneur, just so all of you know. I worked for other people, made a shit ton of money for other people and other businesses and other restaurants and other hotels and resorts and golf places. And I don't regret any of that, because without all of that, I wouldn't be able to sit here in front of you and have the confidence that I have. But then I went out and did my own thing, because my life just changed dramatically overnight for various reasons, and I didn't want to go back to work.
Hmm.
Not back to work, but back to work for other people. I was sick of making money for other people. And it didn't make sense to me. And I'd finally gotten to the point where enough is enough. And I had to take that step. And I did it. I did not do it slowly. For those of you that wonder about that, I jumped into it full force. And so I was fortunate enough at that point in time financially to be able to do that. If you can't do that, at least test the waters and figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere. If this is something you're thinking about, you just got to jump in and do it. You don't have to do it
Hmm.
full time. You just need to start somewhere. And we have lots of podcasts now under our belt and different things online that can help you through this. And if you're scared, trust me, I get it. I was scared
Hmm.
too, but I was just in a place in my world where I needed to find a direction. I didn't know what it was going to be. And here I am 3 years later, and I'm happy and doing my own thing and making my own schedules and watching my grandson in between all of this. So
Yeah.
it's just I'm super
There's a
lucky, but you got to want it and you got to feel passionate about it. And I know we could go on and on, but you
right.
just got to get out there and do it, or you never will. Thinking
Yeah.
about it doesn't make you
Yeah.
doesn't make it happen.
That
Do it.
trade-off you have by being able to take over your own, destiny with
Mhm.
regard to your business, to be able to do what you want and be able to go and lay on the beach in San
Yeah.
Diego and do those
Yeah.
things. That stuff happens as a result of your hard work but you're
Correct.
working for yourself, so you can just go do what you want.
Hmm.
So there's so much to be said about that. All right, so I just want to wrap this up, and then we're going to go and then wish you all a wonderful holiday. We are going to
Yep.
take next week off because of the holiday, but we're gonna do some wrap up and some other stuff before the end of the year. But here's what I want to talk about just to finish up the day. I want to just give you some last specific points that just not to forget about that we talked about today. And first of all, growth does not mean more work. So I used to tell my agents, busy does not mean successful.
Hmm.
So even though you're selling out, doesn't mean that you're actually making money. So we want you to work smarter. So growth doesn't mean more work, it just means smarter work. We want you to be smarter so that you can grow. The other thing is simplicity. It beats complexity in 2026. We don't need more complexity in our lives. We're already all complex all the time with everything else going on in our world, you know.
Hmm.
So if this is something you're serious about, try to trim yourself back a little bit, and actually if you just had one product, start there. and
Hmm.
and and as Andrew said, get in on that one item, that one thing that you're known for, and start showing the world ahead of time. Start letting them know that this is what you're doing, and you're going to find you're going to have followers, you're going to have followers. And so that's all you need is just a few people to say, I'm interested. And even if you just start getting on YouTube and putting a video here or there or on social, it's that easy. And then the systems and the pricing and your consistency. So make sure that you get your systems in place, figure out how you're going to set yourself up so you're not like running around with it like a chicken with your head cut off, and price so that you're not losing money, obviously. And you need to figure out that if you have an issue with it, come to us. We can help you. We've got all kinds of tools, all kinds of advice. Make sure that you've also joined our Facebook group. If you're not in there, just look up Cottage, Charcuterie and Cottage Biz Success. But it's also on the resource page, which is in the notes. And so it's grazingbiz.com/resources. And you can also schedule a free call with us. I'd be happy to chat with you about how just kind of get you started. There's a link at the bottom of that page that you can schedule a call with us. I will meet with you. Andrew will meet, depending on what you're asking. If it's food related, we'll get Andrew on the call. But bottom line is, take these small steps now so that you can create bigger results later. As Andrea keeps saying, just do it, just start. And if you think, yeah, I don't even know where to start, well, that's what we're here to help you with. We can help you. But research online. It's go to AI. Ask where I'm in Dallas, Texas. How do I get started selling food from home? It will give you some answers that you can get started. But join the groups, tap into others. Be careful the advice you're getting too, because some of it's not right. But I mean, we all have to worry about that. So anyway, and I would just say, what other areas are you stuck with? Are you stuck on? Let us know, because we'll try. I mean, we're living our world over here. We know what we've seen and what we had to live through, but maybe you're dealing with something that's a little different than what we've discussed. We'd love to see if we can help you, right? And so, anyway, just follow us, subscribe, tell the world that we're here. We're trying to grow our little podcast and get as many followers as possible, because the more we get, the more we can stay here and help you guys out. Because we don't get paid for this podcast,
No.
we don't. But we do enjoy it. But just so you guys know, we've been on this podcast for about an hour. Andrew and I talked for 2 hours before we got on here, just about our lives and stuff. So we got a lot we can talk about. So
Yeah,
we
like
can help you.
I told mom before we got on, she goes, what do you guys talk about? And I go, I don't know.
Why
We
don't you
just shoot
listen,
the show.
Mom?
It's probably good that she doesn't, because sometimes,
No,
yeah, I don't know. But
you're
anyways,
probably right. True.
that's the point. We're just trying to be ourselves here. We have no script. We don't do, we do have a little checklist that we sort of follow, but we don't have a script. This is us,
Yeah.
just being us.
You can
So
tell we're not reading from stuff.
yeah, we tried that, like, I think once, and just went,
Yeah,
nope, that didn't work.
it's
So
not working.
we just want you guys to get out there and do it. I don't mean to sound like a Nike commercial, but that's what it is. And that is, you got to start somewhere, and we want to
Mm-hmm.
help. We're here
Yep.
for you. So,
All right.
with
Cue
that,
the
Merry
jingle bells.
Christmas.
I'm gonna have my virtual assistant put on jingle bells on this video instead of clapping. So anyway, happy
I didn't even
holiday.
know.
I know. Well, because we always have clapping, so we're gonna put the jingle. Oh, I actually had jingle bells. I had to sing Christmas performance last night up in Anthem last night,
Oh,
so it
I
was
didn't know
pretty
that.
fun. I had the bells going. It was good. Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. Hope you all have a great holidays, and we'll touch base before the end of the year.
Okay.
Have fun. Bye.